Alright guys, what we got here is a Goodman unit that is frozen. And it has got zoning on it, but the problem is the thermostats are off. So let's find out why we're frozen with the thermostats off. Stuck contactor. Yep. See that? As soon as I took the screw out and vibrated this thing, it shut off. So I'm guessing we have a stuck contactor. It's a straight AC. So it's going to be a furnace up there. So let's check and make sure we're not getting 24 volts coming from upstairs, which we shouldn't be. As soon as I vibrated that thing, that contactor popped out. So we got a load management box on this house, so excuse me. That's going to be our Y coming from inside. And there's our common here, and I've got the sun beating down on my back. I'm gonna go grab my umbrella if I come back and replace this contactor, but let's grab a meter and let's check and see what's going on with our voltage. Right there. Pull this disconnect out real quick. Yeah, we usually tell people to turn the system off when we're on the way, just so that we don't have to deal with a frozen coil when we get here and get tied up with that. But he had both thermostats turned off, and I'm not getting 24 volts out here. So this contactor is more than likely sticking closed, and that's why it's froze up. Thermostats were off, we had no airflow inside. Compressor was still running out here because of a stuck contactor, more than likely. And it froze up on him. Oh yeah. That thing's smoked pretty good. Oh yeah. If you can see down in there. How well or not, I don't know. But that thing is charred up pretty good, so that's the reason he's having a problem. So let's get this contactor replaced. And these umbrellas are a lifesaver when the sun's beating down on the back of your neck. If you don't have one, go get you one. Alright guys, we're going to get this contactor swapped out real quick. I'm assuming at some point I've gone in there and turned the fan on, so the blower inside, so I'm hoping at some point I'll start seeing some water coming out of this drain line, unless it's clogged. I guess I'll have to go up there and check that too. But we're going to get this thing swapped out. I do have the disconnect off. We will double check. I do not have any voltage. Ground, nothing. Ground, nothing. I've got set the fan on, so we'll swap this thing out real quick, and we'll go upstairs. We'll see how frozen that coil is. He's still going to have to leave this off for a while the coil melts. I don't know how bad it is. Usually if it's frozen like this out here, then it's going to be frozen pretty good at the evaporator coil. So it is what it is. At least luckily it was something simple. I'd like to be able to check the charge on it before I leave, because it is a good mun, which means there is a strong possibility that there's a leak in it somewhere, unless the coil's already been replaced. The bedroom upstairs, where the attic access is, has a big water stain on it. Not from this, it's dried, but you can see he's had water in the ceiling before. And he doesn't come across to me as somebody that does a lot of maintenance, if you know what I mean, when you go inside. But that's a whole nother ball of wax, I guess. This thing's toasted. I don't know how well you can see that in the camera. When I get this off, I'll get you a better angle. But as that'll happen, you get the contactors, they get worn out and they get pitted and they weld shut for whatever reason, or they get to the point where they want to stick. And like I said, I don't know how well you can see down in there how bad that is, but it was toasted up pretty good. It was just stuck, and as soon as I took that screw out of the side with my impact driver, it vibrated enough that it opened back up. So outdoor unit running constantly, no airflow, thermostat satisfy, blower shuts off, outdoor unit does not, and coil will freeze up. That's a pretty simple scenario. I see it a few times a year. That one's over there. Yeah, no, that one's good. Get this other screw in the contactor. Get our wires put back. I would have thought I would be seeing some water starting to come out of this drain, so we may end up cleaning a drain line out as well. Hopefully I don't end up with a pan full of water up there. Hold that so I don't break this contactor. I hate the way Goodman puts the contactor so close to the bottom, and you try to fight to get your wires up in the bottom of the contactor. Just raise it up about 3 inches. You got all this space up here. You could have put the contactor here. This unit doesn't have a defrost board in it. There we go. And our water is now starting to drain. Yep, nice and cold. So we'll go up there and take a peek at that coil and show you what a sticking contactor will do for you. If anybody was ever curious what happens when your contactor sticks closed, or if it ever sticks closed, well, now you know. The system's gonna freeze up. wire. And all this is for is a load management box. These 2 wires I'm putting on. Load shed. Power company. And everything is back on. Make sure these top screws here are tight. Contactor closed, because I've got the thermostats on in cooling mode to go ahead and get that blower running. I've got the disconnect out here to leave the unit off for the time being. And when I'm done, I'll put the power back on out here and just tell him to let those blowers run for a little while until that ice melts. But I'm going to temporarily put it back in, make sure this unit comes back on. Yep. So our contactor is in. So let's go up in the attic and see what condition that coil's in. Because it's running some water, but it's going to be a lot more than that. So, yep. She's froze up. And this is why I don't like an upflow furnace. Because if you try to force thaw it with the blower, it's going to splash. Water is going to get all inside here and just make a mess. So we're just going to have to leave that off, let that ice melt on its own. And I just let him know to turn it back on tomorrow morning. I'm not going to... This is just... You get water in the blower housing, and then just makes a mess. So horizontal, plenty of room. They could have put this thing horizontally up here in this space. There's plenty of room for it. They put it upflow. If they'd put it horizontal, I could do that, and then get that water out of the drain and not worry about it dripping and running down through the furnace, getting into the blower housing, and all that mess. So he's just going to have to show a little discipline and leave it turned off until he stops seeing water in that drain line out there, and then he can turn it back on. Gotta love it, guys.